Welcome back to another video, and today we are talking about Drake Maye really entering the MVP race as a dark horse, at least in my opinion. And I feel like I can back that up pretty well with not only his stats, but if you really watch these games, just the amount of weight Drake Maye is carrying and really propelling and elevating the entire Patriots offense. So we're going to jump right into it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe. I would appreciate it. But diving right into it. So 1,500 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions for Drake Maye so far in year 2. This is his first full season starting in the NFL. And for those of you that have watched my channel for probably, I guess, about a year now, I was very high on Drake Maye coming out of college. I actually had him as my QB2. I had Caleb Williams as 1 as a prospect, Maye as a prospect at number 2, and then Daniel is actually at 3. After last year, I was kind of thinking, man, Maye has to really, live up to what I thought he could be if he's going to rival Daniels after the amazing year he had. And I think Maye's absolutely doing that, and he's doing all those things that I believed he could do very highly at the next level. Going to zoom in here to the games just so you guys can also kind of see the numbers a bit better as well. And just to be clear, I'm never going to just make a case of off a player's stats strictly. I think stats are the numbers. It does not tell why the numbers are the way that they are. So I'm not encouraging box score watching. Make sure you watch the games and you understand the context behind a player's stats. But they are a good reference to have, and we're going to have them up here. Season started out, and they lose to Las Vegas. And that was a game where I'm kind of sitting there and then watching them going, okay, I thought the Raiders offense was going to be pretty good. I'm not too shocked. It is what it is. But really, after that game, I mean, Maye has been on an absolute tear. He has 1 interception since that first game, a game with 2 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, no touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. He's been incredibly careful with the football, and he's really elevated this team. I mean, this is not a spectacular offense by any means. Stephon Diggs has recovered very well from that torn ACL, and a ton of credit to him there. But you have guys like Demario Douglas, Kayshon Boutte. And it's no disrespect to those guys, but it's so easy to look at this team on paper and say, oh man, this is going to be a rough offense. But, I mean, it's really not. And that's taking into consideration a lot of really annoying turnovers the Patriots have had this year. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson has had really bad fumble issues, and that's been a source of most of their turnovers this year. But apart from that, Maye's been very careful with the football. He's made the right decisions at the right times. His downfield accuracy has been very good, in my opinion, and his third down accuracy is one of the best, if not the best, in the entire NFL. And when you look at this, right, so we went from Las Vegas, we'll go to Miami. That was a really back-and-forth divisional game, kind of a typical Patriots-Dolphins game right there in Miami. Patriots come out on top, but it's one of those things where that's what, I mean, his second start of this season, I'm not sure how many games he actually ended last year with as far as the amount of games he started with, but regardless, he, at that point in time, and really still, doesn't have that many starts under his belt. So being able to go into Miami, whether Miami's a good team or not, going to a divisional opponent's home field and being able to keep pace like that and stay poised under pressure, it's one of those big things that, like, it's whether you either have it or you don't, right? There's a lot of things a player can be coached up on and develop and get better at, but sometimes that clutch gene and that calmness under pressure, you just can't teach that, and it really is just an intangible quality. You can call it the Brady gene if you want. I mean, it's guys like Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, where if the ball is in their hands, you never really feel like you're out of a game, and it's such a blessing to have a quarterback where you never feel like you're out of a game, right? Because whenever you have, I mean, we'll say I'm a Panthers fan, right? The past 2 years having Bryce Young a quarterback, once you go down 2 scores, it feels like it's over, and usually it was. This year's been different. That's a video for another time, but it's such a, I mean, it's just disheartening to know, like, man, down 2 scores, the game's out of reach. It never really seems like that, though, when you have that player that's just fine coming back down however many points. And I'm not going to sit here and say that the Patriots are down a bunch of points to Miami, but it's really just knowing, it's back and forth. It's back and forth. And you have to make every single possession count. And Maye did that. I mean, he had 4 incompletions that entire game. That's a huge game right there that I think, honestly, went under the radar for people because, the Dolphins are bad. But regardless, I mean, it's a second start of the season coming off a loss, and that's the game he puts up. After that, Pittsburgh, another game where the fumbles really, really hurt him. 28 of 37, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Goes to Carolina, absolutely demolishes the Panthers. I was just kind of sitting there blankly staring at my screen. But still, the Panthers defense this year has really not been that bad. It's been pretty middle of the road as far as pass defense and rush defense. Actually, I think rush defense is pretty high, but regardless, passing defense, pretty middle of the road. And it looked like it was a JV high school defense to Drake Maye. He had 3 completions, 14 to 17. It was like every single thing was open. And yeah, you can make a huge indictment of the Panthers defense and say, well, they couldn't cover anyone anyways. But you got to remember this Patriots offense last year, and not a ton has changed. It sounds dumb to kind of say that, but when you really look at it on paper, Stephon Diggs is a huge addition. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not. But other than that, I mean, a lot of the Patriots' success this year relied on Drake Maye taking that next step. If he didn't make that next step, we were going to see a very similar offense to last year. The play calling at times is really not that great. The running game, really not that great. I mean, this is pretty much, I'm not going to say only Drake Maye, because there's a lot of moving parts. It is a team game, of course. But if Maye was not playing at this current level, I mean, if he was even, because there's some teams where you can get away with mediocre quarterback play when you have a really strong defense or even just rest of your offense, really strong running game to lean on, whatever it may be. Maye doesn't really have that. Like, he has to be able to make these possessions count. And they've been able to. Apart from the Raiders and the Steelers games, I mean, it's really looked like he's felt completely in control every time the ball touches his hands. And again, a ton of credit to guys like Kayshon Boutte stepping up. I mean, if you would have told me at the beginning of the season that Kayshon Boutte would be the guy stepping up for the Patriots offense, I would not have believed you. I really wouldn't have. But that's been a huge difference maker. And also, a huge shout out to Hunter Henry, one of the more underappreciated tight ends in the entire NFL, in my opinion, especially over the past 5 years. And he's been huge for the Patriots. Let's come down to the Buffalo game, though, because when you look at, let's go back to 2021, and let's look at the Jaguars. That was kind of like all eyes on Trevor Lawrence. Everyone was expecting a breakout year. And there's a game against the Ravens where the Jaguars were down, I want to say 3 scores, and they came all the way back and won. And it was like this huge Trevor Lawrence statement game. Okay, he's kind of arrived kind of thing. And I don't remember if they made it to the wild card or divisional, but I know that they lost the Chiefs in the playoffs that year. And I think when you look back at that season, you point to that game and say that was when things really changed. Like, that was the turning point. That was the milestone of the season when things just really hit another gear. And I honestly think that that's what this game is right here for Buffalo. You can go back to C.J. Stroud's rookie year. You can point to a lot of games there, but a big one was the Steelers. That was a game where going into it, they were saying, well, this is his first real defense. He's going to be boxed up, and Stroud looked just fine that game, and it was a big win for the Texans. And again, a very successful rookie year for C.J. Stroud that year. So when you look at seasons like that, as far as the big milestone games in it, and what games really kind of showed or ultimately changed the pace of the season, I think this Bills game, while it is very early on, is going to be looked at and say, yeah, that was a huge statement win, and that helped change things. Because let's look at it this way, right? You lose to Vegas, you win against Miami, you lose to Pittsburgh, you beat Carolina. If you lose to Buffalo, that's not really an impressive resume. And I'm not going to say try and discredit Drake Maye or anything, but when you look at the Patriots as a team and you say loss, win, loss, win, loss, what teams have you beat? Not really anything big. But when you beat Buffalo the way that you did, then those other games, while not as strong teams, they still look different because it's like, okay, look what he just did to an underwhelming Carolina defense. And then he goes into Buffalo and wins that game. Like, it shows these steps almost a player's taking, or the whole team is taking for that matter. So I think the Buffalo game is absolutely a turning point. When you look at that, no touchdowns for Drake Maye. But the other thing you got to look at, no interceptions. The moment was not too big for him. In Buffalo, primetime football, huge divisional game, he got the job done. And this is why I don't like box score watching. If someone looks at that and goes, no touchdowns, he didn't help him win. There's really people that think that way. And I'm not going to say there's anything wrong with being a casual fan like that. If that's the way you like to watch, that's fine. But when you do that and you try and push narratives that way, that's when I kind of have an issue with it, because that Buffalo game, when you look at that 273 passing yards, only 8 incompletions, no turnovers, rather than saying no touchdowns, you see it in a much different light. That was a Stephon Diggs revenge game. Drake Maye did basically everything he possibly could to keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, as little as possible. You want to give Josh Allen the ball. The Patriots did that the best they could, and that's why they won that game. If Drake Maye makes one mistake and turns the ball over one extra time, they don't win that game. That's really how important every single down is in the NFL, but especially those big divisional games. And so hopefully I can paint that picture well enough for you to see, like, for a year or two guy so early on doing this with pretty mediocre weapons apart from Diggs and Hunter Henry, who I would say are good. The rest are all kind of meh, and 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the year. Beats the Saints as well, 3 touchdowns, 261 yards. Yeah, the Saints aren't a good team, but it was a close game, and once again, no turnovers. So if Drake Maye continues on this pace, in my opinion, right? Because again, you can look at this and say, well, their only good win is against Buffalo. Pittsburgh's all right. You can make a case, you can say that. And that's valid, but when you also look at what Drake Maye is doing, when you talk about MVP awards, if you take Drake Maye off this team, actually no, keep Drake Maye on the team, have him play at a below average level or even average level, throw in a couple more interceptions in this. Look at the amount of one-score games. If he turns the ball over against Miami, they probably don't win that. If he turns the ball over against Buffalo, they probably don't win that. Saints, they probably don't win that. That's what's so impressive about this, is that with mediocre weapons, which with average play calling, Drake Maye in year 2 so far has had minimal turnovers and elevated the rest of his team to these wins. And that's why he is a dark horse for MVP, in my opinion. Absolutely amazing as far as downfield vision. He's had several huge plays called back due to penalties, especially against the Saints. Very underrated as a runner as well. I don't want that to go unnoticed. 28 against the Saints. His biggest game was 45 against Pittsburgh as far as on the ground goes. But don't forget against Miami, 31 and a touchdown. So this is just one of those guys that if you don't come in with a plan, a strict game plan as far as this is how we're going to try and limit him, he's going to tear you apart. And that's what good players do. They are able to adapt, and they're able to find their game even when the defense tries to counter that. So unless you come up with a very strict game plan, Drake Maye so far has basically done whatever he's wanted to against all of these defenses, even despite the losses. I'm a big fan of Drake Maye. Like I said, I was huge on him coming out of college. I've been very impressed with what I've seen so far this year. He's absolutely a dark horse for MVP, in my opinion. When you look at the weapons he's using right now, I'm not going to say they're bad, but, really look at this. Like, Kayshon Boutte, no disrespect. Demario Douglas, no disrespect. Mac Hollins, no disrespect. I know I'm forgetting someone else, but it's just not that good. It's really not. And Drake Maye has him playing at a very high level. I'm excited to see what he does next. I think it's the Titans, so, But I want to get a quick video out, just talking about how good Drake Maye is. Nothing too in-depth. But if you guys enjoy, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. Are you surprised by this? Are you a Patriots fan? Anything like that, I would appreciate it. But yeah, crazy NFL season so far. Lots of unpredictable things. Who knows where we'll be at 7 weeks from now. Thanks for watching. I do really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.